Yeah, hello, people. It's another wonderful Tuesday, and it's still me, your humble servant K, and it's another time of the day for 3,000 miles. Wonderful and the best podcast on radio right now. So it's still Jambo Radio Scotland, and it's nice to have you once again. How you guys doing today? First of all, I'd like to send my condolences to those in Nigeria who are affected by the flood right now. The flood is taking over like half the country, and a lot of people are being displaced of their homes, properties, and some have even lost lives and everything. Our prayers from Jambo Radio go to you all, and I pray you guys find succor pretty soon. So back to the issue on ground. So today is another very wonderful episode. We'll be talking about a very interesting topic, but my co-host is somewhere around the corner. I know he's twitching. He's twitching. Call my name. Call my name. Big shout out to Dimeji. Dimeji, how's Belfast today?
Yeah, Belfast is warm and cozy, and
Warm and
like I
cozy.
always, it's
That's
very
wonderful.
supportive.
So today we'll be discussing a very pertinent topic because with the whole crisis in, will I say crisis? Yeah, crisis in Nigeria, because we cannot shy away from the fact that there's crisis in Nigeria. A lot of people are on the move. Statistics came in. I saw statistics. I can't get the exact figure, but statistics from the last 2 years from the Home Office shows that in 2020 they issued about 8,000 student visas, including dependents. 8,000. In 2021, that figure rose to about, it was about 20,000 plus, I guess. I might be wrong. I stand to be corrected. But this year alone, there's been about 53,000 visas for both students and both dependents being issued from Nigeria alone. That's massive. That's really massive. And it's something that we really need to look into, because it's been looked at from a very, very lame perspective. So we really need to really put an eye on it and really understand and see why are a lot of people, why is the mass jackbarring, if there's any word like that, there's a mass exodus of people from
Well, I
Africa.
I love that word "japa" because I deliberately coined it to be infused into this topic because "japa" from my language means run, flee. You understand? So people use the word migration. You and I know that the situation in Nigeria is people are escaping. People are really escaping from the harsh reality and the predicament in
Have
Nigeria.
you
So
seen that movie Escape from Suburb? That's an
it's
old
that
movie.
that's
So
just the
so
truth.
we actually have a
Honestly,
guest who we are talking with. We have a guest who is going to join us to really, let's talk. Let's just talk. The big man all the way from England, Birmingham to be precise. John. Hello John, how you doing?
Yeah, hello, Kay. Hello, Dimeji. I'm glad to join you this afternoon for this very wonderful conversation, which is trending. And, necessarily, we need to bring it to the audience. Let's look at it together.
Honestly,
Mm.
honestly. The truth is, three of us, we're actually products of the JAPA syndrome, I know. Are we not? So, let's get into it. It's something that has really been on the increase, and statistics have shown that in the next couple of years, if there's no change, it's ever going to be on the increase as long as there is there is the opportunity, because a lot of young Nigerians, both even old Nigerians, people who are over 50, are leaving the country with their family. Just they are living just for anything, just to live. Let me
let
just
me pick it.
live.
Let me pick it up from there.
Please pick it
Before
up.
I'll throw it. I'll end this conversation with a question to John and also to UK. I'll throw it open. One of my friend who seemed to be comfortable in Nigeria, according to Nigerian standard, quote and unquote, please. If he's built his house, he's young, he's in his early 30s, he's got a new wife. Actually, I wouldn't use a new wife. That's his only wife. So he's got married just newly.
It's a new wife too, so you don't know if you take
Okay,
another
new
wife
wife.
later.
You know the word new wife. The word new wife means maybe he's married before. So let me say he's newly married, and this dude has got this comfy life. He's in Aberdeen as we speak. Then while in Aberdeen, he met one of my boss, whom was a senior colleague to me while I was working at OGTV. This man has worked years. In fact, John, you will know Adiaga. You will know the name rings a bell, Adiaga. You wouldn't believe that Mr. Adiaga right now as we speak has sold his properties, pushed for the fact that he's also in Aberdeen, has pushed for masters at that young age. Someone who is looking at his retirement as a as a civil servant in Nigeria, looking forward to it, has also thought it through that this seems to be the best plan for himself because I really think we men we always think things through. For now, I want us to pick this question. Now, my question now borders line what K touched very fairly. I want to go in depth. These borders are called the line of the young, the middle guys are the early 30s, late
The
30s,
middle age and the old.
and the old. Everybody's fleeing, escaping. What is really the reality, the predicament going on in Nigeria that makes everybody feel like, the JAPA syndrome is the best?
John, what do you think?
Oh, well, I would say it from a bit different angle. The JAPA syndrome, let's look at it, what syndrome really means here. I don't want us to say it as something negative because it's like a negative condition. A syndrome is like a negative condition. It has that synonyms with negativity. But people moving from one country to other countries, it's not negative. So to say, it's developmental. But because of this trend, this particular one, the reason for people moving is the problem, not that the people are moving. So let's differentiate the two. Why people may move, it has always been like that. And the rise in the exodus, the mass exodus now, is due to UK VI policy that has allowed for people to stay after studying. And it's not new. But the question Dimeji asked, which I think makes a lot of sense, why are people leaving? The situation back at home in Nigeria is not comfortable. It's not convenient for anyone. And majorly because of security. So, but when you mention that, you feel people are seeking refuge and running away from their homes because they think they are not safe in their own homes any longer. As bitter as it sounds, is the truth. Anyway. But then, it's just harsh reality that we have to face.
John, you talked about being developmental. Being developmental, but being developmental to one party and being detrimental to another party. That's what we're looking at. Because you see a lot of people who are people who are supposed to be making impact. They are moving. Not just even to the UK. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and he was now throwing me, he's throwing light into some issues. Even most of our entertainers, they are relocating. These are people who are comfortable in Nigeria. That's the irony of the thing. These are people who are comfortable. Okay, Bakassi, his family is in Canada. He comes to Nigeria, goes to Canada. P Square, family in the US. Emeka Smith, family in the US. A lot of people, Bovi, family out of the country. Alibaba has a house in the UK. So, a lot of these big people, even have options. They have moved. But the only luxury they have, why you think they haven't moved, is because they have the luxury of buying a flight ticket and always traveling to Nigeria, which we don't have because of probably the money they have. The thing is, the movement
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
What I'm trying to say is, it is not new. Dimeji, you accept with me. Okay, you also accept with me.
Yeah, it is not new.
One of the things that people aim back in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, all over Africa and in Asia, second world and third world countries, is to be able to travel,
Yeah,
is to have access to the first world, to have access to to Canada, to US, to UK, to Germany, Australia, places like that. Even people who cannot come here and settle down, they come often, at least every year, go on vacation, and they do. It's not new. If in Nigeria years back, people are always politicians, musicians, artists, entertainers that will be coming to the UK to buy houses, settle down, at least just to have properties, even when situations was
Let me
not
cut
as
in.
worse as it
Let me
is
cut
right
in a
now.
little bit. Let me cut in a little bit. So this conversation, I want to set this conversation on fire, straight up. I'm not.
I like your fire.
I'm not trying to stop you. There is a psyche going on right now. We used to have classism, right? We know
Yeah,
there's upper class, middle class, and the lower class. And you know the middle class, there is the safe haven in the middle class. There is an upper middle class and there's a lower middle class. I would explain if you don't understand. Upper middle
I
class
get
are
I
those.
get quite very well if it's to me,
Okay,
but to
good.
our audience,
Good.
you may want to talk for that. Yeah, I get
Okay,
very
good.
well.
Okay, for the sake of the audience, let me just push it further. Now, the upper middle class are those people who have positioned themselves in a very better state for them to push upward the ladder at any time. They've positioned themselves readily available for any opportunity to move to the upper class.
yeah,
Why the lower middle class are the ones struggling? They're the ones struggling not to go to the lower stratum, social stratum. But the lower social stratum seem to be pulling them every time. So they are the ones that are always complaining, which we can call them the masses. So even in the masses, we have people that are desperately complaining and people that are comfortably complaining. Now, this now the word controversial, I like the word you use, that syndrome means negative. Controversial also means negative because that is what is really going on. We come from a society that something is wrong for this escaping. I don't call it migrating, escaping this mass exodus. Now, this controversy that is going on also surrounds the fact that there's a mental psyche going on around the fact that people now classify those, either you are in the middle class or the upper class, that have access to this international terrain. We that were in the international terrain to be comfortable, to have escaped the harsh reality in Nigeria. So now,
Le-
we all know that when we come here, it is not so. We have also jumped into a middle class social stratum here. It's not like we are just rich here. But compared to the reality back at home, we seem to be at the upper middle class. Now, let us trash that issue as regards controversial JAPA syndrome and those people that are also trooping in, seeing it as a safe haven to escape.
see, let me even tell you something right now. The funny thing is, nobody's even apart from the politicians and the big businessmen and the multinationals. Nobody is comfortable in Nigeria right now. People are living irrespective of the fact that if you have money or not. That's the reality. I was having a conversation just a few minutes ago with my friend who's in Aberdeen, and we had an old classmate who works with WRPC. You know WRPC is a senior staff there. It does like probably a monthly salary of over 700k a month. That should be very comfortable for anybody, a young man. But right now, he has moved his family down here and is moving down here. And you ask yourself why? I have another friend. Let me land. I have another friend who's in Oxford. He just moved in with his family. His wife works in a new generation bank, not doing so bad. He does a turnover of like £1,000,000 a month because he has an NGO. He has chains of businesses. But people are living In those days, people leave Nigeria because they don't have a good job or they just want a family member here. A lot of people don't leave because I'm comfortable. What am I going to do abroad? I just go there for vacation. You understand? But right now, people are leaving not for vacation, but for the fact that they are tired of the situation. I had my dad. I've been trying to travel out of the country for God knows how many years until I traveled. My dad would always tell me, he used to always discourage me. I'm not a fan of traveling abroad. You can make it in Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. But as I speak to you today, the last time me and my dad spoke, he told me my younger sister, he wants her to leave the country. And I'm like, what change your views? And he was smiling. So you see, a lot of things are changing, but we are not looking at what is causing this this change in ideology of people leaving the country. Because at this rate we are going, let me be honest with you, at this rate we are going, we might end up not even having anybody in Nigeria in another 20, 25 years. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah.
Dimeji, the discussion for the last 20 minutes is 2:20 now.
Yeah.
The discussion for the last 20 minutes has raised more questions than answers.
Yeah.
I have few answers to provide, and I want to lay background. Maybe if you permit me in 2 or 3 minutes.
No, don't do it.
First, I have a question that you can simply answer with yes or no. Dimeji, from younger age, do you have any relative or people you are aiming to be like this very person is in UK or in the US? I would also like to, travel like social person or like Mr. Lagbaja or like Uncle Lagbaja.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You also said it that for a very long time you've been looking at getting out, traveling. For years, it has been my own aim that my masters should be out of Nigeria. Many of the politicians in Nigeria, big men in Nigeria, captains of industries, had international exposure. Like they came abroad to study. People who you invite today to Nigeria, into the cabinet, being a minister, commissioner, are people who have international exposures. They've traveled wide, studied, and come back home to settle down. I'm only laying this ground for everybody to understand that what we call JAPA syndrome, or moving out of the country, is not something that is new. People have always been escaping. During the military era, a lot of people escaped Nigeria too. Wole Soyinka is one of them. Journalists and many, because they had to run, things were not settled back at home. So that was another JAPA then. It happens often, and it's not just in Nigeria. I'm laying the background. Sorry, I'm taking my time.
Oh, take your time.
Yeah, not just in Nigeria, all around third world and second world countries. Everybody wants to move, they want to migrate. Even if they are not going to stay, to at least let them go. So it has always been this mentality, even in churches or mosques back at home. People pray, they pray for visa. Something as little as that. It is when you get here that you see that life is not actually the way you view it from back home. For this JAPA syndrome we are discussing now, I'm saying it is a problem of what is causing people to go, not the act of going. People can go. It is good for where they are going. It is good for where they are coming from. Nigeria can be proud of, raising new Nigerian communities all over the world. They can be proud of people in diaspora. And foreign direct, deposits back in Nigeria continue to increase, just as people that live in Nigeria also contribute to the economy of where they are going. Doctors, nurses, IT experts, and the rest of them are moving. Why? Job is low in Nigeria because we have a very high population compared to the UK. You can't compare a population of 250 million to 56 million. Or, 57 million, so to say. Sorry, just let me quickly...
John, Dimeji, let him finish.
So because of that, you see where you have so many people and less of job, and where you have many people and too many jobs that they are looking for people to fill. Just few days ago, I think it was last Friday, the Care Quality Commission was saying that they need people, the population of Newcastle, about 250,000 people or 300, to fill jobs. So you see people moving. But now the problem where it is, why are people moving? That's where the problem is. Not that people are moving. People will always move. It happens all the time. But the reason why it is happening this time around is that we are having security instability in Nigeria. That is one. Inflation is at the highest known at any time. What's it called? Job unemployment is increasing. The education sector shut down for over 8 months. So all of these are motivations for people to go. But why are people able to go? That's another question you should ask. Because the time favors it. There has been so many errors that are so difficult for people. But if they have nowhere to go, they have nowhere to go. But because at this point in time, it favors it. UK has also opened its border for people to come in. Not the way people troop to US, they troop to UK, because it's not so opened. Same as Canada and Australia. Back in 2004, there was this post-study visa that was opened during the time too. And then people trooping just like this. It might not be as much as we have currently, but people also trooped in. And Theresa May in 2012 stopped it as Home Secretary. Then it was reopened back in 2019 again. Between 2019, international students started trooping in again. It will always be like that. But if you want us to situate this discussion in the problems we are facing back at home, then it's another case. So,
Yes,
but I don't
we
want
want
us to see this, migration or JAPA as negative. It's not negative. It's positive.
No one is saying, wait. No one is saying it's negative. And depends on the angle you choose to look at it. We
Yeah.
are pointing at something, and you have erupted what we are trying also to point at precisely. That is even one of those things that I have in mind. Of course, like I said, this conversation is meant to set things on fire. So nobody is saying exodus, migrating is wrong. But mass, being it a mass, as you can see when Kane was trying to make analysis of the percentage rising year after year, it has been on the high side even this year, and God spare our life. I'm very sure it will double again next year. Now, the question again directed at you at this time is this: at all these pointers right now, there are two sets of people indeed. We have one kind of category of person who sincerely are migrating for the fact that they want a better life, and they have for the protection of their family, financial crisis, and everything. I've seen people leave good business that they have a lot of people employed under them. They've left it, and we are both doing the same menial job here, trying to monitor their business and whatever through whatever they are doing here, all because of what? Some people came here just because of the documentation, the passport, to give access for travel, nothing else. But for the time being, they are going to do whatever they have to do. We have cases of bank managers. This is not an exchange of respect of intellect. You see people, bank managers coming here to clean, to wash bomb. And if we are talking about people migrating from USA or Canada, I am a bank manager in Canada. I come here, I'm still into a banking sector because there is a trustee of a level that, oh, I have an experience working in bank in United States of America. Now I'm coming here, the bank system here will naturally assimilate me and say, okay, fine, you can actually work in this role. That is not the case here. Even our educational system back then is not respected here. So we want to set this whole conversation on fire when we talk about controversy.
Dimeji, let me cut you there. Let me say something. Earlier this year, Saudi Arabia wanted to organize a job fair for doctors and medical practitioners in Nigeria. It was to happen in a co-hotel. Do you know the Nigerian government blocked it?
Yeah.
They blocked it. So you see that they know that this movement is a problem to them. But my question is, you are saying it's not a problem, people are moving. So why would the government block a job fair for international? Because the thing is, they know what the issues are.
We've been flagged by WHO.
Exactly.
We've been flagged.
Okay, Dimeji, let me introduce an aspect. another dynamic, what do you call it? Dynamic
Dimension.
point, yeah, to this discussion. The point you made is an isolated one, and it's different. For doctors and nurses, there is a threshold that must be met. And many countries, especially Nigeria and other third countries, developing countries, have not been able to meet. So if you allow Saudi Arabia or any other country, or even UK, to come and pack away your doctors and your nurses, it's unfair to the people. So government will have to block that. And what ex-governor, who is currently a minister, ex-governor Amosun, in one interview he granted to BBC, said the last time in Yoruba that it was unfair that UK is packing, doctors and nurses from Nigeria, open the border for them, so that Nigeria health sector is left unattended. That is one thing that no
No, I think I think
government
I
will
think I
allow.
think I think what is really unfair now directed back to the ex-governor Amosun is for the fact that he also owes some people money to go and buy private jets. He pocketed some money to buy private jet for himself because I've
And
never
that will,
seen where a governor,
that topic will
a
divert us.
full
That
governor,
topic will
an
divert
ex-governor
us from
has
the
the
point
right
of this
to say
discussion.
that he has such a mass of money to go and buy private jet. So see
Dimeji,
this.
that one will divert us. That one will divert us from this
No.
discussion.
Truth
Let's
be
stay on
told,
this discussion.
truth be told is
Let's stay on this discussion. But
are people treated rightly? Are people treated rightly in Nigeria?
that's the
Are
different
workers treated
discussion. We are
rightly?
talking about this migration. I don't want us to divert.
Yes,
Please,
all those things
let's
are
stay on the
affecting
point.
it because if doctors are being treated right and nurses, they won't have any reason. They are passionate for the job already. They've chosen a job, a career they are passionate about. The way they are being treated compared to their contemporary to where they are going is what that is giving them options. I've seen a doctor and I've seen nurses that have spent years in Nigeria right now. They are back here. They are in Birmingham. They are in England. They've spent years working for federal government here. How are they being treated? That's the question. So no politician should come out and say they are saints and it's not fair on whatever government. How is the government, his own government, ex-governor
Uh,
Amosun, how has his
Dimeji,
government been treating workers?
Dimeji, I think you want us to deliberately leave the line of this discussion
No, no,
to
no, no.
politics. But I
John,
don't want us to do that.
John, you talked about an isolated conversation. I want to bring you another point now. Earlier, you talked about a lot of people leave Nigeria for the fact that they want to do their masters, go abroad. But the thing is, how many people are coming here to even do to even study for the sake of studying? Let
That
me
question
finish.
will be a subject of
No,
research.
let me finish.
Finish your research. You
No, I've
cannot
done a
ascertain.
research. I've done an off the record
Oh,
research.
really?
Yes, because I've liaised with a lot of students, but I've welcomed students, and 95, or let me say 80% of people who have come between 2000 and 2021 to till date, 85% are not coming here because of they want to study. They are leaving Nigeria. Let me just get. I've seen people say
85%.
just look for course, any course, even if it's home econs.
Yes.
They should just give me admission.
There was a video I saw today.
Let me give you an example. Do you know? I came here to do a master's. It's an irony. I already had a PhD, but I came back to do a master's. Why? Well, is it because I'm looking for education? No, I wanted to leave. So even if they gave me home econs or what's the zoology, or I will still come, because at that point people just let me just get anything that will make me leave the country. And I know right now the best way to leave Nigeria, if let me give you an example. Let me give you a scenario. If the work visa was easier to get than the student visa, you'll be so surprised that the number of students will be reduced.
Yes.
It's the fact that okay, people know that okay, the best way to come is study. You see people coming with their wives and say, okay, madam, come and school, I will hustle and I will pay your school fees.
That's the logic, John.
That's the logic,
John,
just to live.
let us be factual to our people that are watching this. You see, the reason why I'm trying to set this conversation, the whole conversation on fire, is because I want the truth to come out. There is diplomacy in the way you
truth
talk.
is out. Nothing is hidden.
With all respect, there is diplomacy in the way you talk. I really see
not diplomacy. Dimeji, I'm not trying to be cautious or diplomatic. I'm trying to lay every fact bare.
We're having a caller now, John. We're having a caller now. Let's just take this call. Let's take this call. Hold that thought. Somebody's calling all the way from Nigeria because he said he wants to really address you personally. So let's hear the caller all the way from Nigeria. So the person is trying to connect. So when the person connects now, we'll take the call. I think the person is calling. Hello, Williams. How you doing?
Yeah, very fine. Thank you. Good afternoon to you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good afternoon. How's Nigeria today?
Very hot.
As usual. So you want to say a few things, I believe.
Yeah, I just want to. I wish I could, just scream at your colleague. He seems to have lost touch with what's reality on ground in Nigeria. It's. I sure say if you ask anybody now, say you go like travel, I go pay everything for you. Don't worry. I sure say nobody go remain, except maybe a few senior members of the armed forces. It's that bad. So we know what it is. Me say what they talk about. Don't come on and no get.
I'm a student.
Nah, transport I no get. So it's not waiting that they argue.
I'm going to the school.
Not waiting that they argue. Put Nigeria is terrible, and then the only legal route, or which is like the fastest one right now, is through school. And then everybody's exploiting it. There's nothing wrong in doing that, and I don't think there's anything they can say to make anybody change their mind. It's the trend right now. Everybody wants to live, and they were exploring that route. So make them be like saying a bad thing. Would they do it for JAPA? After all, Baba even did that. Say, but let me your competitors for Nigeria, but maybe I'm a reason one or two. I just say I not go like to go back so
I'm making a point exactly.
Anyway, shout out to
you guys.
For people to leave. Now invite me. I feel like come follow and host one of these sessions, someday.
So Williams,
yeah.
Quick one before you go.
Okay.
Do you see that? Do you see a problem in future with the way people are moving? Do you see a problem brewing in Nigeria in the future with the rate of exodus? No, I think you're the one is hitting out because you are saying it's a syndrome or a problem.
No, see, my own point is this. You see, there is for every cause there's an effect.
Yeah.
This is what the effect is. There's a controversial JAPA syndrome. Everybody is talking about people moving. There's a mass exodus. Yes, it has always been. Like I said, if you trace the percentage, it's on the high side. So what is the reason? He has also tendered it. We are all saying the same thing in different ways. The same thing is that everybody is escaping. Nigeria is an open air concentration camp. People are escaping for their lives. So my own point is directed towards the system of governance. There's no way, bro. You and I know these facts. We are not being treated as the first-class citizen here. We will never be.
Exactly, that's the truth. You can never be.
Why are we not going to talk about where we are still going to be a first-class citizen and why we are losing our identity even in the 21st century? Is that not worth discussing? So because you are ready to say, okay, I want to JAPA for all reason, are you not going to think about where you have got your own roots and your influence and say, okay, if solution can be applied, let us apply solution? Is that not how to think? No,
exactly. You have a point there, though. You have a point.
And it's always be.
Dimeji, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Which university did you attend back in Nigeria?
University of Ibadan.
It's a federal university.
Of course.
And you must have spent at least 4 years to finish your.
He spent like 6 years because the ASU strike.
No, let's say at least four sessions, right? 4 sessions.
Yeah.
Now, throughout that 4 sessions, you must have paid nothing short of, let's say, £1,000, equivalent to Naira. If black market will have 800,000 for £1,000 now, that should. I'm not sure you even spend up to that.
John, let me tell you. Mine, I spent less. Let me tell you for mine. I spent less.
You spent less. You spend less.
My school fees was 7,500.
If you are studying, let the UK audience and Nigeria audience listen.
Yeah.
Because where you have the bad, you also have the good. If you have studied here, for you to have spent, let's say, less than £1,000, you will have spent nothing less than £40,000 to have studied here.
Word.
So it means all of the things you enjoyed in Nigeria were paid for by the government. Even if you have studied in the most expensive private school, hold on.
It means I was in a land that I was born, because the same UK citizen here pay for nothing.
But that's the truth. Let's get that fact. They don't pay as much as you do. No, they don't pay as much as you do. I would dispute that. I was speaking with a citizen here, and he told me their school fees is about 1,000 plus. Some don't even pay. Some I went for free.
Okay. When people go to school, primary education and secondary education is free. But if you are going to higher institution, it is funded by the private sector, not the government. You can have access to student loan. And if you have access to this, it means by the time you graduate, you'll be paying that. You can pay it for 10 years or 20 years. That's the benefit. But it's not as cheap as you have it back home.
So what do you think is the average school fees for a British citizen here? Let me know.
No, let's leave that. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is that when you see all of this, you should go back home and see the benefit that you have also learned from Nigeria. Nigeria has brewed you to be whatever you are. So this exodus of a thing. No, hold on, Dimeji. This exodus of a thing, as far as it has created a lot of problem in Nigeria, and it has also as a result of political instability, government issues, and the rest of that. It is also something that I think is building the country one way or the other. Because you are having people,
expatiate on that, please.
Now you are having people who are moving abroad, creating new communities, and also, having foreign direct deposits back home. Nigeria is a country with very low employment rate. At the moment, I think we are having about 23,000. The data varies. Some people say 20, some people say 56,000.
John,
so at the moment, if you have, this year was 34,000 students that was given visa to study here. So if you have 34,000 students or 34,000 migrants who have come here to work, it's a relief in the market.
John.
So the question about is that the reason for people moving may be a problem.
That's why I'm putting in. Wait, John,
do you see that? Well, Dimeji, do you think that this is a demerit or demerit that UK is helping Nigeria solve our unemployment problem? Should it be so? But should it be so? Why can another country be helping a country solve their unemployment issues?
Just 1 minute, please. I know we have 1 hour. That's why I'm trying to cut. I'm a very gentleman. I would have just allowed it, but I just need to cut. I don't want to forget this point. I was in Egypt. The president of Egypt called all Egyptians in diaspora that it is time, prepared some sort of honorarium and everything, safe landing for people in diaspora. You working in Canada anyway, just come back. Let us come and rebuild. That is what we are talking about. Look, for the fact that everybody is Japan, I'm not an hypocrite. I Japan, at international level, I follow everybody talk. But at the same time, is that right? What is wrong is wrong. Even those people that are still coming, they will still come. God will help you. You will be given that visa in Jesus' name. You will travel. You will see waiting with the sea. You go understand what I try to talk. That's my point. Are you treated as a first-class citizen here? That's my point I'm asking you. And at the same time, are we supposed to now be saying that, those things should be permissible, things that are so wrong back at home should still be on and on and on, and people should be fleeing? No. We need to devise ways to say no. How are these things going?
Okay, Dimeji, for the next 15 minutes, I want us to hit. Dimeji, for the next 15 minutes.
Talking on about the fact that the problem, we need to devise about the solution.
Dimeji, for the next 15 minutes, I want us to talk on another area. This is still pertinent. Let's look at it from the aspect of brain drain. Picking from what you said about it, because right now, there are a lot of professionals, myself and yourself, we are very brilliant men. We are contributing our knowledge to the UK and not our motherland. Let's look at it.
Your potential is underused here.
Funny enough, it's even underused. I'm even underused because I know what I can actually do. Because I was listening to a few days ago. I was listening to this lady Indicato, the spokesperson for Labour Party, young lady, very eloquent, very intellectual, and I'm like, there are a lot of young indicators way scattered all around the world who can actually contribute intellectually to the growth of Nigeria, but they are not given the platform. Look at the spokesperson for. It's unfortunate we have to divert a little to politics. Look at the spokesperson for the APC, a man who is not, a lawyer who does not know his left from his right, who has forgotten his law calling and is after money, saying trash. Exactly. And look at the brilliant, because what I'm trying to bring out this thing. When Festus Keyamo was asked why did Tinubu not come for the peace accord, he said Tinubu was resting, he was tired, blah blah blah, and all sorts. They tried to use same question for Peter Obi. They asked when they were inaugurating the Labour Campaign Council, Peter Obi was not available. Why would the principal not be available? Does it mean that the inauguration is not as important as whatever he's doing? And the woman was really, and you really need to go and listen to her response. She was very brilliant about it. And that's what we need.
A lot of people think, I think this is where we need to now start correcting this notion. There's a reason why we three right now, we are speaking about this topic. JAPA, very, very brilliant. As a matter of fact, have exposure is very important. But at the same time, selling your birthrights, all in the name of paper, selling your potential at the highest bidder is a very wrong move. And it's my point. What is so wrong in Nigeria, becoming in Nigeria in future, having with theory of our kinds are more of our brothers in diaspora that has the brain and the might to impute their own quota to the development of the nation that will even inspire hope. Nigeria is losing hope and patriotism. Don't you get? Now, what is so wrong in three of us being part of the Ministry of Media and Communications? Do you really think we are not capable of doing the job? Now, those are our points. We are not just losing people, we are losing human capital. And mind you, to build a strong economy, human capital.
You need human capital.
We can see the fact that even the human capital, the native here, compared to what we have, I agree with you, John, that Nigeria has made us. As a matter of fact, I will not just use Nigeria. Nigeria and its adversity has made us to become this strong individual that we become. Now, getting here, we have realized that these people are just humans like us. And that is the most important lesson we need to learn. There's no magic about building a nation. So what is wrong with our human capital? We are wasting away. The human capitals are cleaning the floor. Human capitals are washing the bomb. Instead of us to be in the Ministry of Media. Is that
human capitals are watching bomb?
UAE. The man who built Dubai, he built UAE using the best of the brains, using the best of the creative minds. So what are the creative minds doing? This is one of the days that we don't have shifts. That's the reality. We don't have a busy shift. As a matter of fact, it's not that we can't choose to be busy today. We choose to cancel today's shift because we want to talk about this fact. So you know this to be truth. Everybody thinks, oh, when we JAPA, because we're in the international diaspora, whatever they call it, we are in soft land and everything. Fine, it is soft landing. Come, God will help you, let you come, and let you understand how the system of governance work, how taxation works, how paying bills work, how nothing falls from the tree. And we are talking about this. It is a controversial JAPA. It is not happily ever after. It is not heaven. It is not paradise. It is work effort. And we are working our ass to build another man's nation, not our father's land.
Dimeji, I can see your pain because that's the truth. Somebody said something that a lot of this West, and it's the truth. A lot of developing countries and developed countries, the Western world, were built on the back of immigrants. And it's so unfortunate that the countries of these immigrants are in despair, while we are making another post economy. And the government of Nigeria or of Africa as a whole are not even seeing this as a problem, that these people are going to build another economy and leaving our economy to suffer. John, I know you have a lot to say.
The unfortunate thing is that this thing is unavoidable. At the moment, there's nothing we can do about it because it is one of the indicators of developing countries, what you call the third world. But regardless of the situation, what do you think the government could have done about it?
Inspire patriotism. I've just given you an example of Egypt. Egypt was not developed, is not still developed. It transmitted from developing to third world country as I speak. Egypt is developing, but Egypt has been able to inspire patriotism, has been able
It was
to
not
do
Egypt that inspired patriotism, Dimeji. It was not Egypt. It was the government of Egypt. So why do we have a government? Yeah. How come do we have a government in Nigeria that is unable to inspire patriotism? Because it's not effective. I'm going back to the root now. Because it's not effective. We don't have a governance system or political leaders that are efficient doing their job. So if they are unable to inspire patriotism, even there is no patriotism you want to inspire in a hungry man, people will go.
So, John, are you saying the government has failed? Are you saying the government has failed?
Everybody knows that the government has failed. So, in a failed system of government, people will move. And then when you have you have hellfire, and then you have blue sea, you will want to prefer the blue sea, dying by the blue sea than the hellfire. So, as difficult as situations are here, you don't want to compare it to what we experience back home. So that's the situation we have found ourselves. But if I want to ask you a question, I'm saying this from a particular motivation. That's the motivation of passion and hope for the country back home. That's something one day we click and we will get it right. That's just from the angle I'm saying. Because if you ask me that I have a 10-year-old son and a 2-year-old son, and then my 10-year-old son can do everything by himself, bath himself and clean his room, do everything by himself. Then the 2-year-old just wake up and eat and, shit. That's all he does. Then you want to ask me, which one of them will I prefer? There is no way of choosing because you have to be passionate. They are both in different levels of growth. So when we compare what we have here, with Nigeria, Nigeria is a very, low level of growth. It's just coming up. And it's unfortunate we're in this situation.
I think to me personally, I used to agree with such conversation until I started seeing a leader moving in the right direction. Aside from Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt, I've seen Tunisia, Morocco, I've seen Rwanda, I've seen Mauritius.
That was what was on my mind, Rwanda. So how old is Rwanda and how old is Nigeria?
You see, I've seen all these countries moving in the right direction. You see, what I see that is really wrong now. And the funny thing is, do you know the funny thing why this conversation is quite taken on my good side is that Nigeria seems to be the prototype of the hope of Africa. That's what they represent. Because we are the home of diverse tribe. And all other countries, just like the last caller, Kay, if you remember, the last caller on our show from Cameroon said, every country looks up to Africa.
They look up to Nigeria, yes.
Nigeria.
And just like Nelson Mandela says, the survival of Nigeria is a pointer that Africa will survive. Now, let us now talk about Nigeria. Nigeria is losing its mass. Look at the guy who built the 5G network here in UK. Nigeria's brain. Look at this guy also that has founded the robotics engineering, the highest paid one, Nigerian. We have these guys doing great in diaspora. Are these good signals for us? This is we losing human capital on a day. And human capital at Silicon Valley, you will agree with me, what human capital can generate. As a matter of fact, human capital survives every economy, including China, including America, UK.
Dimeji,
but we are losing
the question we should be asking ourselves is, how and why are we getting it wrong? Because if I'm a product of JAPA, K and yourself are also product of JAPA. And we're all here escaping the situation back home. Why? What has brought us to this situation? Why is Nigeria this way? Why are we getting it wrong?
So that leads me to the question I like to, for the next few minutes, I like us to just, let's answer these questions. What do you think is the way forward?
Well,
Dimeji mentioned spirit of patriotism, and he said that patriotism has to be inspired, at least by our leaders back home. In the way they are going to do that, is still yet unclear to me. But maybe he has his point.
That leads me to the point of you saying vote for Peter Obi to inspire patriotism.
well, me, I'm not going to campaign for anything.
I'm not campaigning for anybody anyway.
I'm not going to campaign for anybody, but I'm going to pick up on that patriotism. It's magical how patriotism may seem. You will be surprised that soldiers, citizens are ready to die for a flag if you can inspire patriotism, if you can let them believe in the country, if you can make the country work for them. Soldiers are willing to lay down their lives and everything. On a daily basis,
Where I want to come in is that you're talking about being inspired, being motivated to be patriotic. But those who are to motivate you or inspire you are not even motivated or inspired themselves. We still have this rooted problem of leadership. And we are yet to get it right. Until we get it right, nothing will work. Nothing can work. That's the problem of leadership. Now, in 2015, there was this article by Bumi Obasanjo, this Obasanjo's daughter, that was in the Senate one time ago. Can't remember.
You mean Yabo
Obasanjo, yeah. And she said in one of the lines, I remember I read that article very well, that people deserve the kind of leaders they get. It rings in my mind every time I think about Nigeria, that do we actually deserve those kind of leaders we get? Look at what has happened in the UK in just 2 months. If one is not working,
they push it. They don't waste time. They push you out immediately. They don't have time.
You even sit in that football team. You don't give them results. You are sacked.
The truth is, you see that this developed world, they don't see the government as a place to test run anything. If you are not capable, you live there. If they see that because the thing is, any good government in the first 1 month, your policy should show that you know where you are taking us to. If they see your policies are not good, pack your load, move, bring the next person. They don't have time to say let's wait for 4 years or 8 years before we try somebody.
Our governance is at the lowest ebb.
I think Nigeria should try that. They should be doing elections every 2 months. If you are not delivering, move ahead.
They've weaponized poverty in Nigeria.
That is
poverty
the truth.
is not weaponized here.
They've weaponized people. They've made it look like people need food. They will give you food and they will control you.
You could imagine politicians that are feeding you, and you want to go against them. So
and they will tell you
that's the problem we are finding ourselves. Unfortunately, K and Dimeji, the time will not permit us to go further on this. So we can have it more after the show, but then that's the situation we have found ourselves as a country and as a people. And I'm glad we are having this because it shows how passionate we are about our country of origin. And maybe if we continue like this,
things will be better. Let's be hopeful. There's hope. There is always hope.
Yeah, this is my own final statement. I think everything now points back to the topic we once had, that the next election, Nigerians are too.
It's pivotal. It's
very, 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 very important. You see, JAPA, even in diaspora, the Dubai has banned the visa. People are now.
Dubai is even worse. It's even a worse place. People back home, you better listen. Going to Dubai, even if you have a visa to Dubai, is not a place to go. It's worse than apartheid oppression in South Africa. So I've had friends there. People who think if you are there, you will enjoy something. You think you are there, you are
because you see people going for vacation.
It's hellfire.
Well, at this point in time, we have to call it a day. It's been a wonderful conversation with Dimeji and John. My advice to you all out there: try to get your PVC and let's put in the right person. We need to get Nigeria back in shape. To be honest with you, I told someone, I said, if Nigeria gets better, I don't mind going back home.
I don't mind too.
But
if the country gets better,
but with my ILR, shall.
So that's your plan B.
Did you hear him?
He has his plan B. Still having his plan B.
No,
so,
it has always been his vision from Tipe. Young age.
I'm not lying. I'm saying
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Our viewers.
When the opportunity opens last year, you just JAPA because you have always thought of JAPA.
Even before your mother conceived you. Thank you very much. I want to thank you all for your contributions, and to our viewers out there, thank you very much. Just look out for the episode. Will be out on YouTube. The video episode will be out on YouTube in the next 3 days. You can follow us on our social media platforms where you can actually re-listen to these episodes and share, like, and comment. From me and from the team, peace be unto you. Thank you, and stay blessed and have a blessed week.